I have this like great obsession with what's in our food calorie wise. I'm very interested in always looking at the nutrition label, but ultimately for no other reason than just it's interesting. It's like stats. It's like every piece of food has a little baseball card on the side of it, and you can see all the stats. No matter what, I'm always looking at food. Now, I'm in no way some sort of like perfect food health person, right? I have a horrible relationship with food. I am a textbook binge eater. I have an unhealthy love of sugar and sweets. But part of that bad relationship with food is what makes looking at labels so extra interesting to me. And when you look at a lot of labels, you realize there are some social conventions that I assume are from marketing, just general market manipulation. A lot of times our understanding of what's healthy, not healthy, low calorie, high calorie, are so off baseline, especially on products that are traditionally considered staples of the American diet. I saw a great example of this morning, and we're gonna go check it out right now. So hold on.
So just going into the aisle of Shaw's and picking out the most standard looking vanilla ice cream, 1 pint is 530 calories and contains 52 grams of sugar. And then if we go over and grab a chocolate milk off of the shelf, now I think it's not uncommon to see a child drink a full one of these. It contains 50 grams of sugar. And if we look at the calories, we're looking at about 430, which is about 100 calories less than the ice cream. So this drink, which nobody would consider a meal or even a dessert, this chocolate milk, is the equivalent in sugar of a pint of ice cream. And that presumably would be going along with another meal, likely breakfast, which is, just traditionally a sugar fest, whether it's pancakes, cereal, things of that nature.
It's just crazy that there's no regulation on this stuff. There's regulation on caffeine that's marketed to our children, obviously alcohol, tobacco. But when you look at the biomarkers of sugar, you just think there would at least be a limit on what they can market towards children or what can be served in public schools.
Because I think the World Health Organization recommends for the average adult 25 grams of added sugar per day. And for children, it's less than that, 19, I believe. The average 8-ounce serving of apple juice contains 30 to 40 grams of sugar, but the daily recommended amount is 19 grams. 8 ounces, let's look at it. That's 8 ounces of apple juice. Right there. When you think about a glazed donut is only about 10 to 15 grams of sugar, eating 5 donuts would be kind of like a ridiculous thing to allow a kid to do, or an adult to do, really. And I think about this because yesterday I went and got a milkshake, and I felt so sick after that milkshake. And I'm an adult who eats like irresponsible levels of sugar all the time.
Kids just don't have the same ability to express in detail how they feel, or they don't have the right baseline to understand how something that they eat makes them feel, whether it's physical or even more importantly psychological. That's even difficult for adults to identify. But to consume sugar at such a mass quantity and be like completely oblivious to it, and frankly the parents are oblivious to it too, and it's not necessarily their duty to understand this stuff because it is not encouraged to be common knowledge. In fact, it's discouraged. Culturally it's discouraged to like talk about calories and to look at labels. It's like considered rude. It's like looking at someone's bank account.
Think about how you would feel if you had a pint of ice cream with your breakfast every morning. Like, I'm pretty hypocritical on all these things. I consume a lot of sugar. I give my children a lot of sugar. But, at some point, it just feels like there should be some sort of regulation on it. Because just with, not only just the links with childhood obesity, but also some of the more mental parts of it, the links, the effects of a kid's mood and energy and attention span and things like that are so heavily affected by their diet and specifically their level of sugar intake. And I think a lot of it too is that because kids don't get fat, because kids have this high amount of energy, they therefore can just handle this huge influx of calories. But it doesn't work like that. First of all, they're like a third of your size, and secondly, their body still has to process all of that. So much of it too is just this idea that Americans attach fat and skinny to healthy and diet so much. We just think of like, oh, kids have candy, they burn it off. That's been the convention, but you know, like how much of a child's behavior is the result, how much of the stereotype of children's behavior is therefore the result of these bad diets? You know, it's like a chicken or the egg. Are we creating this expectation for them to have wild mood swings by giving them irresponsible amounts of sugar in this like industrial age, you know, this processed sugar? Because adults have a hard time with their energy fluctuating throughout the day, and that's absolutely connected to diet. I don't even think that is like any sort of a secret. So the fact that we completely don't consider that as we sit children down to like sometimes 150 grams of sugar between chocolate milk, French toast sticks with syrup, and, you know, hash browns, and then they get a cookie and then a piece of chocolate later on for being a good kid, and that all happens like at school, and then they get home. I mean, and while I don't think that's like on purpose from any sort of food industry, it's definitely, you know, they don't hate it. They don't hate that that's sort of the thing, because that allows them to make, you know, drugs and sell them to kids and parents alike. And it's that social thing, sort of like alcohol, where I don't want to talk about it because if I have to address it with you, then I have to address it with me, and I don't want to do either of those things. Anyways,